Vancouver Canucks have made 3 UFA defenseman signings. Let's start off with the big one, the very first one, the one that broke and had everybody up in shambles. Oscar Fantenberg is a Vancouver Canuck. Just kidding, we'll save that for the end. Tyler Myers. It's not the first one that came out, but bear with me, it's the one that people care about the most. Tyler Myers has signed a 5-year, $30 million contract with the Vancouver Canucks. Hey, it's 5x6. It's not 7x7. It's not 6x7, which means that it is better than what every Canucks fan had in mind. With that being said, 5 years at $6 million each is still not good. And I think a lot of that has to do with circumstance. Because Tyler Myers, on his previous contract, was making $5.5 million for 7 years. And I think everybody looking at that contract nowadays could kind of understand that he was overpaid. Yeah, he was overpaid, and because he was making $5.5 million for 7 years, he's not going to come over to Vancouver and take a pay cut. So a very small $500,000 increase is understandable. However, does that make this contract amazing? No, it doesn't. Certainly it's not as bad as everyone thought it was going to be, but $6 million is now Louis Eriksson territory, and if we're going to look at $6 million and not kind of snicker to ourselves like we do whenever we talk about Eriksson's contract, Tyler Myers is going to really need to come in here and prove that he's worth the contract. Now, my most recent video 2 days ago about Myers was about what he could offer to the Vancouver Canucks, and pretty much just summing things up in a few sentences. Really good offense, he can get up to 30 points in a year, and I believe that he can do that several times with the Canucks, but defensively he's like Eric Branson, and he has those lapses, and he has those moments where you're scratching your head and thinking, okay, why did he do that? So overall, Tyler Myers is a guy that's really going to need some work on the back end, but his offensive game is on point. So overall, say what you want about it, I really don't care. Vancouver fans, please don't be super negative about this. We've been negative about everything for the past few years, and just going over some of the details of Tyler Myers' contract over here. $16 million of his contract is signing bonuses, and $14 million of it is actual salary. So if we ever want to buy out Tyler Myers at a time, it's not gonna really be super effective. I mean, only half of his salary, just under half, is actual salary, and the other half is signing bonuses, which is not affected in a buyout. This is the same thing that happened with Louis Eriksson, which is why he is buyout proof, which is why we cannot buy out Eriksson, because the money is still going to be in our cap. But other details for Tyler Myers over here: there is a full no-move clause for 2019-20, a full no-trade clause in 2020-2021, and 2020-2022. Then, the last 2 years of the deal, a 10-team no-trade list in 2022-23 up until the last season. So pretty much, we have Myers on cap for 3 years, and then the last 2 years, if we wanted to trade him, there's an ability to do that. That's pretty much the Tyler Myers thing on this front. We have ourselves 2 other free agent signings. Let's go over them in order of significance. Jordie Benn has signed a $2 million deal in replacement for Ben Hutton. And that's pretty much obvious here. Ben Hutton, obviously, he wasn't qualified, and I didn't make a video about that because I wanted to see where it would go before we had the conclusion, and it looks like Ben Hutton will probably go to some other team. The Vancouver Canucks didn't qualify Ben Hutton because they didn't want to go to arbitration and potentially have to settle the contract with an arbitrator. Because if they did that, then Hutton would certainly mostly be getting somewhere around the $4.1, $4.2, $4.3 million annual value per year cap hit, which is not something the Canucks wanted to do because he's not worth that. So, Jordie Benn, Jamie Benn's brother, hometown Victoria guy, is coming over to Vancouver on a 2x2 deal. Honestly, it's a pretty solid deal. He's a sound defenseman, a guy who can definitely squeak into the bottom 6, and a guy that Canucks fans are not going to demand a ton out of, but who's not going to provide a ton nonetheless. He's a pretty okay defenseman, and I think this is pretty alright, especially for the price. This is way cheaper than Ben Hutton would have been for the Vancouver Canucks, and he's a third-line guy who can go on the penalty kill. And watching him at the Montreal Canadiens this past season, he's pretty alright. I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna say, yeah, I'm okay with this signing for sure, and I'm definitely going to be welcoming Jordie Benn onto the Vancouver Canucks with open arms. Heck, last season Ben got 22 points. That's really not bad. That's better than anything Eric Branson could have done, and that's honestly better than what I believe Ben Hutton can do next year. So Jordie Benn, if he comes on here with a really small, short contract and he proves himself still being worthy of that 20-point plateau, then honestly it seems like a big win. Ben Hutton got 20 points last season, Jordie Benn got 22, so automatically we know who's the better guy. All joking aside though, I hope Ben Hutton does find a great place to stay, and Jordie Benn, I'm welcoming him on the team. Now going on to our last free agent signing on the back end, Oscar Fantenberg is a Vancouver Canuck. And I know everybody's thinking, okay, who? Because that's what I believed, that's what I was looking at, that's pretty much my reaction. Oscar Fantenberg is a depth guy. And he was playing in the KHL just 2 years ago. 2016-17, he played for Sochi, had 23 points in 44 games, came over to the NHL with the Kings organization, got traded over to the Flames organization, and he's just a really seemingly sound defensive guy. I mean, the guy only has a total of 13 points in 88 career NHL games as a 27-year-old who just came over into the NHL 2 years ago, and now he's a Vancouver Canuck for 1 year at $850,000. So, say what you want about this, positive or negative, whatever, I don't really think there's a verdict here until we see him on the ice. It's a depth signing. This guy is as much of a depth signing as you can get because he's really, really low on that depth chart. His best season, though, was his debut season. He did have 13 points in 25 AHL games with the Ontario Reign and 9 points in 27 Los Angeles Kings games, which is pretty okay. If we can get a sustained pace like that with the Vancouver Canucks, then okay. But he is a left-handed D, so he will be on that side, alongside of Jordie Benn, Edler, and Quinn Hughes. So whatever happens, happens. I'm not really going to say anything else. Let's just read his little scouting report here on Elite Prospects. Fantenberg is a defenseman with a good all-around game and two-way ability. Rarely caught out of position defensively, he can also shoot the puck pretty well, is very good one-on-one against opponents, and plays the body on a regular basis. He's an agile skater but could improve his speed. Now that was from 4 years ago, so who knows what he's like now, but Oscar Fantenberg is now a Vancouver Canuck, as the newest member on our blue line, along with 2 other blue line guys. So I think people taking a look at the draft and being like, oh, we didn't draft any defensemen. This was the plan all along, and I don't think it's surprising to anybody. Oh, big shock, we signed Tyler Myers. Oh, big shock, we signed 3 defensemen. 1 of them is right-handed and 2 of them are left-handed. So this decor has really changed itself up. Surely I think it's better than the decor we started out the season last year with. It's not Goodbranson, Pouliot, and Biega anymore, but instead we do have ourselves Edler, Myers, Hughes, Tanev, Benn. I don't know who else is on the... Oh, Stetcher, that's who. I keep on forgetting that Stetcher's a Vancouver Canuck. Benn, Stetcher, and then Fantenberg and whoever else we have on depth. But overall, the Vancouver Canucks decor is looking pretty okay, and I think it's better than last season's, for sure. But obviously, Tyler Myers, that's a big contract. It does have the potential to become a meme like Louis Eriksson 6x6 has, but Myers 6x5, it's not better. But as a defenseman, you know, honestly, it's pretty okay considering the market, because we very well could have seen a 7x7, some team giving a guy like that a 7x7. We're probably going to see Jake Gardiner get a 7x7 somewhere, so the fact that we only settled with 5x6, it's okay with me. It doesn't make it great, but at the same time, it's much better than what it could have been. As for Jordie Benn, pretty good solid signing. Fantenberg, solid signing too, I guess. Hope you enjoyed this video. Social 99, and bye.